on this week's episode, I'm going to walk you guys through the 4 different ways that I made my first feature film for under $10,000. So I know you might be thinking, what? That's impossible. Making a full movie on $10,000 or less, that's nearly impossible. Well, it's not impossible. It is a lot of hard work, but I'm going to walk you through exactly how I did it and how it worked for me and my benefit of owning, producing, directing, and writing my own feature film. So let's get started. So the first way that I actually not only funded the film, but came up with the idea to keep the budget in mind and keep the budget very, very low was that I had complete and total control over the story and the creative process. So although I did go off to film school and I learned how to write a script, I learned a lot about the film industry beforehand, I was not at all planning to direct it, write it, and produce it myself. However, in order to keep the budget in mind and gain complete creative control over the process, this is the method that worked the best for me. So what I basically did is I went out and found private investors compared to going to a major network or a studio or being backed by, some producer that was connected to those other people. So by doing that, I was able to basically set what the budget was going to be by having complete control over everything. So I actually produced it through my own company that I had already set up beforehand, and that allowed me to produce it based on the budget that I had in mind and that I wanted to fund it for. And I actually got this idea from a top filmmaker who's also an actor and director in the industry, Edward Burns, a lot of years ago when he was probably over 25 years ago when he was just starting out. He actually wrote a book more recently where he talked about how he made his first feature, and it was a very similar process where he had mostly family members that helped fund the project. He put a lot of his own money into it, which I did as well, and that way he was able to build a team of people to work with him. He was able to pick the crew members as well as the cast, and because he had that control over everything, even though it was a lot of work, he could actually create and get the movie out there, and that's how he got his first movie made and how he sold it to other people at festivals once he finally got done with it. I think the process took him probably over a year, maybe around that time to finish it. But anyway, I read his book. I will link below the book that I read before I decided to make my own feature film, and that really, really helped me getting started. And then so the second thing that helped me create the budget and stick to the budget was the fact that I wrote the script myself. So I actually, my favorite part of the whole process is writing. That's actually what I went to school for. So, that's something that's not very hard. However, writing a script based solely on keeping your location in mind, which is what I did. I kept the locations in mind and the overall budget in mind when writing the script. So one of the ways I did that was to create a story around where I thought we would be filming. So for us personally, we actually rented an Airbnb, and our primary location was one single family home. And then we also filmed in the surrounding areas in public places where, even though we got permits, it was very cost effective and it didn't cost us a lot of money to film there. It was either free or very minimal. So that's one reason that if you cannot write the script yourself, which I would recommend, but if you can't write it yourself, if you can team up with somebody who is a good writer and can give them guidelines to write the script based on kind of what you're thinking as a producer, that's one way that you can definitely be creative and create that script so that you can fast track it to production. So that's one thing that worked for me. I didn't really plan it that way, but looking back, that definitely helped me produce it a lot quicker. I think we only took 9 to 10 months from me finishing the script and then moving into production, which is very fast in this industry. So I would definitely recommend you either writing it or getting a writing partner to fast track your first feature. And then the third thing that really helped me looking back and figuring out how I did it on such a low budget was to be willing to work with new people. And by new people, I mean cast and crew members that are not extremely experienced or extremely versed in the industry. Get some people that are really, really willing to learn and very enthusiastic. And, on set, it may take a little bit more time and effort to work with them, especially cast members if they're new to acting and if they don't have a ton of experience. You're putting more work on your plate, but you're also able to film quicker and get the job actually done so you can take it to the marketplace and hopefully work on distribution a lot quicker. So, get some crew members and some cast that you can pay a little bit less because they are less experienced. Now, I don't recommend this for everyone. The key people that you need to make the project run smoothly, I recommend that you get somebody who has experience. So everything from sound, directing, all the major people, try to get some people who have some experience. But if you can, when it comes to other people like PAs and volunteers, minor cast members, stuff like that, if you can get people who don't have as much experience but who are enthusiastic and willing to learn and ready to work, that will work to your advantage as far as your budget goes. And then the last thing that really helped me stay on budget for this project was to be willing to do multiple things myself. It wasn't always fun, and it was a lot of hard work. But at the end of the day, I produced it, I wrote it, and I directed it myself. And again, it wasn't always the best experience because it did put a lot on my plate, and a lot of people were depending on me to do my job and vice versa. And sometimes it can be a little bit stressful, but this industry and this kind of work is stressful anyway. So again, by doing those things myself, not only did I stick to a certain budget, but I learned a lot. And when you're doing something for the first time, especially in film, I would recommend not spending a lot of money because you don't want to waste money while you're still learning your craft. So I was able to stick to the budget while also allowing myself to learn how to do different things so that on my next project, I can do less and know how to work on the budget, but also I will be able to see if other people are doing their jobs correctly because I've been in their shoes. I've done multiple roles. And when you're first getting started, whether you're a PA or an assistant, whoever you are on set, if you know how to do multiple things, you will know how to be of value to other people. So moving forward, as a producer or someone who's kind of the head person who is running the project, if you have done those things before, you will have a greater appreciation for working with those people and also know if someone is really doing their job or if they're slacking. So just keep that in mind, and those are 4 things that allowed me to make my feature on $10,000 or less. It was definitely under $10,000, but we're in the editing process right now, and we should have the trailer coming out very soon. So it's a work in progress, but I definitely, we got through it, we filmed it, it was a great experience for everyone. So I hope this information has been helpful to you, and if you're new to filmmaking and you are trying to figure out how to make your first feature or your first big project, I would definitely recommend trying a few of these things and these tips. So one last thing to mention, I would say this is kind of a bonus tip, number 5, is I would definitely recommend before you get on set and before you build a team to do a big project like a feature, I would recommend definitely starting small. So just do like a test run with something else first, like get on a set and learn from people, or maybe do a short film, which is what I did. I directed, produced, and wrote a short film about a year prior before we made our feature this past year. So having done the short film, I was confident enough that I knew most of what I was doing as far as producing myself beforehand. So I would definitely recommend starting small and then working your way up to your bigger project. Last thing to mention, you guys, if you guys are interested in seeing the behind the scenes process of how we made the film from start to finish, from pre-production to production to post, then check out our behind the scenes series. So it's called Film from Scratch, and you guys can check that out on this channel or my business channel, and it will give you guys a very exclusive behind the scenes look at how we made the film from start to finish. So I'm super excited to share that with you guys. Check that out if you're interested, and I will see you guys very soon.